Hi, this is Matt Mountain with Sikich, and this is a 10-minute video on the MGA template that we have built on the Salesforce Financial Services Cloud to support the needs of the MGAs and the independent distribution market. What you're looking at is the app that we had created. Now, again, this sits on Financial Services Cloud, so there's a lot of pre-built functionality in FSC that we can take advantage of. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through the appointment process for an agency. We're going to take a look, once they become appointed, at how we manage submissions, how we manage potential policies, renewals, how we manage processes within here, such as the number of steps that need to be done in order to renew a policy, how to manage an endorsement. We're going to look at commissions, and then look at agency performance. So over the next 10 minutes, we're going to be going through a lot of this. We can definitely provide you with a much more detailed demo if there's interest. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here, and we are on a lead. This is a prospective agency. So what we can see here is that we have had an initial call with Lynn. I've got a follow-up call next week to see if there is interest in potentially working with us. If there is, that's where we would go through and we would convert this lead. And by converting the lead, what we're going to do is we are going to create an account for the agency, a contact, and an opportunity to potentially appoint them. So I'm going to click here on the Jacobs Insurance, and now you can see that we're on the account tab. I can see that we have a related contact and an opportunity to appoint them. When I click on the opportunity, we move over to the opportunity tab, and we can see that we have different stages or statuses in place to see where they are in that process of becoming appointed. Going back to the Jacobs Insurance agency, we can see that they are a prospective agency. And on here, we've got some fields about them, but not a lot. We can see that all the activities that we did as a lead have come over, have been converted, so we don't lose any history when we convert a lead over. Now, what I'd like to do is now go to a different agency, one with a lot more data that's going to work better for today's demonstration. And let's go to the Powers Insurance Agency. Now, what we can see is they are an appointed agency, no longer prospective. And as we scroll down here, we can see that there's a lot more data on the page. So what we've got here is premium and policy data. This probably would come in from a third-party system that you are currently managing those. We've got goals. So this gives you the ability to enter the premium and a number of policies you expect them to write this year. And then some calculations are done to see how well they're doing compared to their goals. We can also take a look at metrics such as submission to quote, quote to written, submission to written. Are they sending us good business? Are they wasting our time? And then also retention. Are they able to retain their clients? So all of these metrics are tracked either in a third-party system and brought in and within Salesforce. So a lot of the metrics around submissions, written, retention is all managed here in Salesforce. And then we also include a couple of graphs to give you a graphical representation of how well they're doing. When we take a look at the Powers agency here, we still have our related contacts, but we can also take a look at submissions. So these submissions could come in a variety of different ways, but instead of typing one in, I'm just going to pick the workers' comp here. Now what we can see is, let's just pretend that we just got this submission. It's got an effective date of 9/1. So what we want to do is we want to look at creating a new policy opportunity. So there is a button up here at the top that when you click it, it takes all the data from the submission and it moves it over and it creates a potential policy record. So now we're on the opportunity. We are on the clearance stage. And as you can see that the path here is different. So all of this can be customized based upon what your process is. We can see that the effective date's 9/1. The expiration date is 364 days later. we can see it's a new policy. Policy status is prospective. We're in the clearance stage, and the close date is the effective date -7. We could put in any formula there from a close date standpoint. And then there's other information here that we can track. So if we are to fast forward this, and let's say that we go ahead and we use Zurich, and the premium amount is 4K, and we move, and I'll just go ahead and save that. We move to the quote stage, and I'm fast forwarding very quickly through this. And then this policy ultimately gets written. So now I'll change the stage to, instead of bound, I'll just go written, and I'll save it. So that was very quickly moving through the process. Now let's go back to the Powers Insurance Agency and see how things are working out. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh my page. And what we're going to see now is there's 4 opportunities. There were 2. We can see that the workers' comp policy has now been written, $4,000 premium amount, and a renewal opportunity is automatically created. So now your team doesn't have to manually go in and create a new one. So let's go into the open policy here. And as what I want to show you now is how you can use processes within Salesforce. So let's fast forward, realizing that this doesn't come due for another year. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a renewal process. So I could type in some information here if I wanted. I'm not going to. But what we've done is now we're leveraging the cases object. And this allows us to track not only information about the policy, it's related to the account, but we built a process. The process is initially starting with review loss runs, and you go through underwriting, remarketing, so on and so forth. But we have tasks now. These tasks can be assigned to different people on your team, and they are assigned at due at different dates. So for example, 90 days prior, we need to review loss runs. And then 80 days prior, we need to complete the underwriting process. And it assigns tasks out in the future for you. One of the other things that we have is, and I'm going to pull up a view, and I love views because views allow you to segment your data and only see a subset of all the records in that object. So if I wanted to take policies written last 30 days, for example, let's take El Toro here, their restaurant, and to highlight how you can use Salesforce for processes. Because it's a written policy, we now have a button up here called Create Endorsement. So let's just go create endorsement, and I'll just type in add more coverage and save. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a different type of case for the endorsement. And what you're going to see is that the statuses up here are different than the new renewal policy. We can see here that we've got 2 tasks. And again, these tasks now aren't due 90 days prior, they're due tomorrow and upcoming. So Salesforce is very good at allowing you to track processes. And one of the things we didn't discuss, as you appoint an agency, you might want an onboarding process in order to get them set up in your system, and so that everybody is following the same process every time. Let's go back to the opportunity here. And what we can see is that there is a the policy that we just wrote didn't have commission associated to it. We proposed it with Zurich. So what I want to do now is come in here and I want to select the commission record. So we'll select Zurich, and the agency commission is, let's say, 15%, and let's go ahead and save it. So what that's going to do is that's going to take the 4,000. We, the MGA, get 15%. The agency gets 15%. The carrier gets the remainder. So all that can be tracked at the policy level here. And then what we've done is we built some reports. So what we can do is we can take a look at how much do we owe the carriers based upon the business that we have written in the last 30 days. So here we can take a look at by carrier, by policy, how much is owed. Same thing with the agencies. We want to see, what do we owe the agencies? So again, very similar. This report, we put together a graph just to show you that you can have graphs on your reports. But again, here's just the detail behind all that. Last thing I want to show is, and probably most importantly, is as you appoint these agencies, and you want to make sure that the agencies are growing with you. So this is an agency production dashboard that allows you to track information about each agency, about their performance. So who's fastest growing, which ones are selling less, loss ratios, other attributes about them. And so each one of these components has a report behind it. So if I were to come in here and say I want to look at the fastest growing agencies, I can click on this, and what that's going to do is take me from the dashboard over to the report, and I can see all of the data behind it. All of this data in this report is being surfaced from the account record that we had showed you earlier. And that's where the aggregation of this data from other systems and from Salesforce can really help your agents and your team that's working with these agencies, help them to grow their business and to do more with you. That concludes the high-level demo. If you have any questions, you can reach us at www.sikich.com/contact-us, or you could give us a call at 877-279-1900. Thank you very much.